Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tamika Robinson, and here on this channel, we are all about uplifting, encouraging, and motivating you to become a better version of yourself by solely focusing on you and learning how to heal from the things that we all know we need to heal from, right? So if you are new here, I would like to welcome you. If you are returning, I want to personally say thank you, and I'm going to jump right into it. This message is not going to be for everybody, right? This is for somebody who have adult children, okay? Not little kids, not teenagers, adults, okay? And in your mind, you might be saying, how can I leave my kids, or those are my kids? I have to put up with whatever they got going on, right? Look, just like whatever your family members, whoever they were, your mom, your dad, whoever they were that traumatized you, guess what? You can have children that are adults, excuse me, confirmation, that choose to be toxic towards you. Okay? What does that mean, right? That means when your kids, and when I say kids, we all say kids, but I mean your adult kids, when they see you making strides and trying to change and setting boundaries and trying to transform and do things differently for yourself, and they don't accept it, they don't appreciate they don't respect your boundaries, right? And they still choose to put themselves around those toxic family members that you have now separated from. Guess what? You got to leave them behind too on this journey. Your own flesh and blood. The kids that you had out of your womb, if they choose to be toxic, because if they are still hanging around those family members that they see that you have separated from for a reason, and you are their mother, then guess what? They are going to pick up on those same toxic behaviors. So that means anything you do, if you have them around you, they're going to run back and they're going to tell those same toxic family members that you're trying to get away from and separate from everything that you got going on. And everything that those toxic family members are still continuously doing, your adult children are going to adapt to the family ways. And guess what? That's not going to help you on this side of the journey. On this side of the journey, nobody comes before God. Nobody. Not your husband, not your mama, not your grandmama, not your adult children. And that's going to be hard for you to realize. It's going to hit you and hurt you deep when you see that your adult children still choose to be toxic. They still choose to ride with the family. They still choose to basically pick a side. So you're going to have to make a choice, right? You got to cut the cords, cut them attachments to those adult children. But that don't mean stop praying for them, right? That don't mean you don't love them. What it means is you love yourself more than anything. And you gave your all and tried your best to raise them the best that you could, and they still choose to side with the toxic family members, you don't have to put up with them. That doesn't have to stop you from moving forward for your healing and for your growth. And that's something that you're going to have to understand. Because if you don't, it can be very dangerous for you and where you're trying to go, for your healing process, for you. For your self-love journey, you won't make it. And you got to know that. And that's a hard realization to come to, right? But if you read the Bible, you read about Job, you know, he lost everything. He lost his kids and all of that, right? And you'd be wondering, how did Job lose his kids, right? It's the same thing. You got to be willing to lose everything and let go of everything and grab a hold to God. Let God work on your adult children. Pray for them to have a relationship with the real God, right? And you got to trust that God is going to answer your prayers, but it does not stop you from moving forward. It does not stop you from separating from all things toxic and low vibing. Nothing can go with you that's toxic on this side of the journey. And you may not fully understand that, right? But check it out. You know how bad your family members have hurt you. You know what they are capable of, right? Okay. If your adult children are okay with being around that behavior, when they love the family, when everybody is ride or die, do or die, we all for one and one for all, guess what? Your adult children are going to go along with the majority. So if the majority are against you, your own children will be against you. And that's going to hurt in many places. It's going to take a while for you to open up your eyes and see for yourself that it's not good for you on your healing journey. While you trying to heal, while you trying to grow. And I know it may sound harsh, but it's just like, when God told Lot's wife, do not look back or you will turn into a pillar of salt, right? If you can't separate the love of God and what God wants you to do and put God first before you put them adult kids of yours, you're not going to make it. You are not going to make it. They are secretly going to take you down with those toxic family members. The majority always rule, right? Any contest, what do they say? The judges, right? Whoever has the most votes. And guess what? If they see you separating and they can't grasp their mind about what's going on with you, because most people won't, not even your own adult children. They're not used to you changing. They're not used to you trying to grow. They're not used to seeing you wanting to heal, right? And furthermore, they keep themselves around the toxic family members. They okay with the behavior. Nobody wants anything to change. Guess what? The majority is going to rule. And when the majority rules, the rules is going to be against you. So even though you may love your kids with all your heart, right? Even though you may want them to understand what you're going through and want them to root for you, you got to understand that the enemy, okay, the enemy of God, he's going to work through any and everybody that he can to get to you, to stop you from making it to the end of the journey. So even if you have to go through your adult children, that's what he gonna do. And when you see that, and when you know that you got to give it to God and you got to keep going for yourself so that you can make it, so that their lives can be different. Whenever God get through working with you, doing whatever God is doing, and you got to know that. And that's hard. That's a hard realization to come to because most people can cut the cords. They can cut the string. It's like some people can't cut the cords from that. Oh, that's my mama. That's my grandmama. I can't leave my granny hanging. You hear those type of words in toxic family dynamics to keep your mental, keep your mind stuck, making you feel like you doing something wrong. And it's the same thing, it's the same rules that go for your adult children. They are adults, so they are using their free will to agree with the majority, which is your toxic family members. And if you know, because if you're watching this, you know your family is against you. And your children who are now adults saying they mind, well, everybody else feel this way, so they're gonna go along with everybody else and not act you out. And if you're not careful, those kids will be your downfall. Those adult kids will be your downfall because in the word says daughter will be against mother, daughter-in-law will be against daughter-in-law, son will be against. Nobody comes before. Let that sit for a minute. Because if you notice the behavior of your adult children, you see the way they react while you're trying to move forward, then you already know they're not with you. They're not for you. And the enemy can work through anybody that he chooses to get to you. He's going to use any and everybody to seclude you, to make you feel like you got to hold on. You can't move forward. So even when it comes to those adult children of yours, you don't have to worry about how everything is going to work out. You don't have to think about how everything is going to turn out because nobody knows what tomorrow is going to be, right? All you got is the present, the gift today. You use your mind. God says, my people perish for lack of knowledge, right? So if you're using your heartstrings and you letting your heartstrings and think that you got attached to them adult children stop you from healing, from growing, from moving forward, because see, the enemy he's slick, right? He's slick and he's sly. So if you don't have a whole lot of people in your life, meaning you don't have a whole bunch of friends, right? You don't have a whole bunch of partners and all this. All you have are your adult children. Well, guess what? The enemy gonna get through them to get to you. The enemy is gonna go through them to get to you. We wrestle not with flesh and blood. That's why you got to put God first. You got to give it all to God and you got to put it in his hands. And you got to go through that separation season. You got to go through that cutting the cord season. And it's hard, very hard. But you got to put God first because your life depends on it. Just like your healing, right? Your healing is important to you staying alive and moving forward, having a good life, because you know how things was back there. You know, you almost didn't make it out of the family that pretended to love you. You know how many other people you watched other people put their trust and their hope in the family, and now they dead and gone. So yeah, it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if those children came out of your body or your womb, right? Now that they are an adults, they make their own choices. They have to be held accountable for the choices that they make with God. Just like before they turn 18, you are responsible for everything, right? You got to show up at the doctor's appointments. You got to sign everything. They can't do nothing on their own, right? I'm not talking about those younger days. That's when you are held responsible. God said, train up a child in the way that he should go. When he is old, he shall not depart from it. So you know that you done your part to teach your kids about God and right from wrong and the do's and the don'ts. They know you done your part. But after they turn, 18, 21, they get to go in the store and buy their own liquor. You could tell them not to drink and drive. But now that they 21, they make their own decision. So if they want to drink and drive, that's what they're going to do. And guess what? Your adult children make their own decisions with their free will. If they want to ride with the family, they going to side with the family. And if the family is against you, I'm sorry to tell you, but your kids are going to be against you too. And you know it. You know it because you can feel it. You can feel it in your heart. And it's going to hurt like hell. I'm definitely not saying that this is easy, right? This journey alone is not for the weak. So if you sitting there thinking, you know your daughter is toxic, she just will not change. You just wonder why she doing the things that she doing and saying the things that she's saying and acting the way that she acted. And everybody in the family is clapping and cheering her on. That's toxic behavior. And because you the parent, you feel like you got to deal with they mess, the choices that they make with their free will. No, you do not. No, you do not. See, the enemy wants you to feel, right? Like you gotta stay for whatever reason. And if your children, your adult children, are the only ones that you were surrounded by, do you think not? Do you think that the enemy is not gonna go through them kids to get to you? You crazy. You gotta think like that on this journey. You gotta think like this for your life. Like Jesus walked away from his mama, his brothers and his sisters. And everybody coming up to him saying, there go your mother. Jesus said, who's my mother? My mother are those who follow what the word of God says. And that's how you gotta feel. When you separate from them toxic family members and you see your kids still high-fiving and hugging and, oh, I love you, and oh, we're family, and I don't know what's wrong with her or him. You better separate from them too. Do that mean you don't love them? Absolutely not. It's impossible for a mother, right? Or a father, for that matter, to not love their own children. If you watching this, especially if you watching this, because we already know how it feels to have parents who don't love us, right? So this ain't about you not loving your kids. This is about you recognizing that they are adults and that they make their own choices, and that if they siding with the family, they riding with the family, and they gonna ride and they gonna side against you. Because who else is the enemy gonna use if that's all you got? It's harsh. It's a harsh pill to swallow. But if you gonna make it, you gotta take it. You gotta take that pill and you gotta swallow it. You gotta cut them cords to your adult children, and you gotta be strong enough on the inside to have the will to tell yourself it don't matter what it takes. You gonna heal from your trauma. You gonna separate from toxicity, period. No matter what the cost is. No matter who has to get cut off in the process. Because nobody comes before God. And if you don't believe me, check it out. Let's say you got a wicked auntie, right? The wicked witch. That's the witch of the family. She always cooking and inviting people over, right? Can't nobody get to you but your kids. And you know deep down in your heart, you're tired of them family members, so you've been pulling away and all of that, right? You smoke your weed at home. You ain't smoking with everybody. You're not trying to be around everybody, right? Okay, but auntie is making this particular big dinner celebration. You know how they do. They always cooking up something. And you know what she gonna do? Go tell your mama to show up. Call your mama. Y'all get your mama to come over here. Let's just say this is just an example, right? Auntie in there cooking up some poison, your last supper, something that's gonna wipe you out from the inside once you eat it. Cause can't nobody else get to you. Now you weak and you don't see yourself separating from your adult children, right? It don't matter. And they get you to go to the dinner. And guess what? You eat poison. And that just might be your last supper. And you end up in a hospital with a sickness that the doctors don't even know what happened to you. Natural causes. And then you die. There goes your life. There goes your chance. There goes your growth. There goes your transformation because you couldn't separate your heartstrings. God's going to give you signs. Your inner compass is going to tell you and show you things about your adult children that's siding with the family that's going against you to help you. And if you ignore that dis-ease you feel, then you just might catch a disease that you can't come back from. The enemy's job and its plan is to kill, steal, and destroy. So if he could steal your adult children away from you, that's what he's going to do. And he's going to use them to destroy and kill you, your growth, your transformation, your love for God, your moving forward, you being able to separate and have real peace in your life. Nobody comes before God. God has to be your first love. You got to love God more than you love your children. You got to love God more than you love your mama. You got to love God more than anybody that you see. Nobody's off limits when it comes to the enemy and who he will use to get to you. Don't be surprised. Why do you think the adults that raised you allowed happen to you what has happened to you? The enemy used your mama. The enemy used your father. The enemy used your grandma, your cousin, your uncle, your stepdaddy. And guess what? The enemy will use your adult children. It's a harsh reality. But on this journey, it's called self-love. That means you love yourself. You love yourself enough to follow God. You love yourself enough to separate and let go of everything that does not serve your higher purpose. And if those kids choose to hang around the family because they can't see nothing else, then that's their choice. That's their decision. It's not good for you and where you trying to go. So you got to let them go and let them grow and separate and keep going. No matter how hard it's going to be, no matter how hard, how much hurt you feel in your heart, how much pain you have in your heart that hurt you severely, you still have to do it. Because if you don't, that means you don't love yourself enough to give yourself a chance. Yeah, this self-love discovery journey ain't no common joke. And I mean any and everybody, right, that the enemy has access to in your life will be used against you. Just like they say, anything you say can and will be used against you. That's the same way it is with the enemy. Anybody, your husband, your best friend, your boss, your co-workers, anybody that's close to you, whoever the enemy can use, he gonna use. Do that mean you hate your children? Do that mean you look at them like you look at the family? Absolutely not. On this side, You praying for your children. You praying for them to grow up and have a relationship with the real one, true, loving, living God. And you put it in God's hands, but you don't stop yourself from separating. You don't stop yourself from moving forward. You don't stop yourself from continuously being adamant about healing from any and all things. Yeah, you gotta look at it like that. The enemy is slick and he's sly. He ain't no joke. He don't never get off his job. He comes to kill, steal, and destroy. That's his mission. So your mission gotta be God, following him, letting go whatever he tell you to let go, believing what God show you, believing what God tell you, and believing that in the end, everything is going to work out for you and everything that's attached to you. But it's not in your hands. You are not in control of it. God is in control of it. Your job is to keep moving forward and not look back so that you don't become or turn into a pillar of salt. Straight up. Now, it's going to take you some time when you really start noticing that your adult children are siding with your family that's going against you. And if these things ain't happening in your life, then this video is not for you. Go ahead and click off, right? Those that get it know what I'm talking about. It's going to take you some time to see it because those are your kids, because you refuse to believe that your kids can hurt you. But how could your mama hurt you? How could your daddy hurt you? It ain't no difference. Some people just have these titles. You don't know what's going on the inside. And when they siding and riding with the family that's going against you, something else is taking over. You are no longer responsible. You done your part. Now it's time for you to go do what you got to do for you. Meaning whatever God tells you to do so that you can heal, so that you can really be free, so that you can really be whole on the inside. If they not going to let you, they're going to use every trick in the book they can to be all up in your business, to be all up in your energy, so they can have something to go back and feed to the majority because the majority rules. Now, I know this is not an easy one. Trust me. I know it's not an easy one, but it's something that has to be said. It's something that has to be looked at. And if you look in the Bible, go look at the Bible, read it up. See what God says about the mother and the daughter. He says there's going to come a time where daughter will be against mother. What? Yeah. Doing this journey is serious. Your life is serious. That's how you got to see it, and that's how you got to look at it. And it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, so don't get it twisted. Don't get my words confused. It's going to be one of the hardest things that you're going to have to realize, that you're going to have to separate from. But guess what? It must be done. So, y'all know we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. If anybody have not yet told you today that they love you, I want you to know how much I love you. But most importantly, Jesus loves us so much more. Now, let me just add this, right? You take as much as time as you need to heal and grieve and cut the cord, because the things that you need to see for yourself, God is going to show you. God is going to make sure you notice the behavior and help you so that you can open up your eyes. And if you choose not to see what God is showing you, then that's your decision, right? You're not going to be doing this all by yourself. It's not like God don't understand how much you love your children, right? It's just like God, he loved Jesus. You think it was easy for him to sit and watch Jesus go through all the things he went through for nothing? That was his only begotten son. So God knows that that part is not going to be easy for you. But with God, you can get through anything. And with God, all things can change. So make sure you have a great day today. Stay prayed up and have a blessed day. Thank you so very much for listening to me today.